Thank you for joining us tonight for this virtual concert and special announcement from Music Friends. We hope everyone is staying safe and healthy in these unprecedented times. And before we get to the fantastic music that we have lined up for you, we'd love to tell you more about our plans to take our series into the online world until we can resume producing live house concerts once again.
In the hope of creating some positivity and inspiration in the midst of all the stress and anxiety from this pandemic, we are humbly asking music lovers like yourself for some financial help so that we can produce an ongoing online video series on YouTube, featuring the same quality and variety of artists that you've come to expect from our house concerts. These videos will feature exclusive new content that can include performances, interviews, and talks about the music. This new video series is called Music Friends Spotlight, and the music that we will be showing tonight is part of our first wave of content, which we have so far produced entirely from our own funds. You can contribute to this project through a monthly subscription on Patreon, which is a website that allows content creators to receive monthly payments from their fans so that they can continue their craft. We have multiple price points, starting from $3 per month, and each tier gives you different perks, such as access to live chats or behind-the-scenes footage. Please note that while Patreon is open to Canadians, prices are shown in US dollars. You can cancel anytime as well. To give us confidence that we can maintain a regular production of 1 to 2 videos per month, we will need to meet our initial campaign goal of $150 per month from all patrons combined. The money will be used to pay featured artists, many of whom have lost work due to the pandemic, as well as to cover essential operating costs of Music Friends, such as software licensing, web hosting, and banking fees. Bing and I will not be taking any salary for this work until we have enough money to both compensate the artists and cover our operating costs. In fact, we are prepared to self-fund shortfalls in the short term until we are able to make this a sustainable venture. We're happy to announce that at the time we uploaded this video, we have over 12 patrons and $90 per month committed, which puts us at 60% of our initial goal. If any of you want to go the extra mile, we plan to offer you the chance to commission a 4 to 5 minute performance from an artist of your choice. We will release further details about commissioning in the coming days. Last but not least, we'd like to give our sincerest thanks to the following patrons who contributed in the first week of our campaign. It really means a lot to Bing and myself that you have our backs during such a challenging time. If you had signed up after the filming of this video, don't worry. We will absolutely acknowledge you in a future post.
Thank you very much for listening to our message. Without further ado, please enjoy these exclusive new performances in the first virtual concert of Music Friends Spotlight.
In wie viel grauen Stunden
Chloe, we have worked together before, but would love to have our new audiences get to know a bit more about you. So could you please introduce yourself to us?
Sure. My name is Chloé Hurst. I'm a Vancouverite, born and raised, which I know is very rare. I come from a family of musicians. Both my parents are musicians, so music was something in my entire life since I was a baby. And I'm lucky that my parents also enjoyed not only classical music, which is how they were trained as classical musicians, but all different genres. So I grew up listening to pretty much anything under the sun. And so I'm really happy about that because my love of music continues to be a very, very wide span of genres. And I think that plays a lot into myself as an opera singer, classical singer. You just learn a lot from watching and listening to amazing artists of all kinds. So there's always something to learn.
Chloé, I'd love to know how have you been during the pandemic? Are you eating? Have you been playing video games nonstop like myself? Or what have you been up to?
I've been super fortunate during this time that I have a pretty busy teaching schedule normally, and it's continued to be busy. Almost my whole studio is continuing during this time, just in a virtual format. And even the group classes that I teach, I'm either still teaching live in a virtual format, or I've come up with a way where I do pre-recorded lessons that they have access to every week. So again, I've been really, really lucky. I know not everyone has been as fortunate in terms of music teachers and being able to keep their students online, but yeah, so that's been keeping me busy. And aside from teaching, other projects like this project with music friends has kept me busy, and revisiting old pieces and, learning new pieces and learning all about the virtual world, whether it is live or learning to collaborate through pre-recorded videos and all that kind of stuff. So I'm definitely not twiddling my thumbs. Oh, and I'm going for really long walks every day with my dog, which is awesome. And thankful that the weather's been so great, because having that bit of sunshine sure gets me through the day.
I definitely felt fortunate as well that this pandemic didn't hit us during the gloomiest season of Vancouver. It would have been so much worse. If if we couldn't go out in November, December, January, that would be pretty bad.
Yes.
The Schubert selection we had is on the Musik, which is basically like an ode to the art of music. Like it's a poem written by a close friend of his named Franz von Schubert.
Okay.
And it just basically thanking music for bringing us into a better world during difficult times in our lives. And for a lot of people, that might be why they want to play music anyways. So it's just a very simple but very heartfelt message that I think really fits what Music Friends is trying to bring to the world.
Hi, Bing and Eric. Thank you so much for asking me, Scott, and Claire to do these recordings for you, for Music Friends. It's really a big honor and a great pleasure. We've never had the experience of doing anything like this before, doing like a remote chamber music type of collaboration, and it's been really interesting and actually really a lot of fun. I've been very excited to do this. This is the first time. And for those of you Music Friends supporters, my name is Bosun Mo, and I'm currently here in Houston, Texas, in my living room. It's beautiful outside, actually. It's really bizarre to be going through such a strange and tense time while it's beautiful and sunny and mild and dry out. So anyway, thank you so much for having us, and hope you enjoy the video.
So Bosun, this is the first time for you to perform this piece?
Yeah, so for both the Fauré and the Elgar, I mean, they're both little, what we call like bonbon pieces, like little sweets, little candies. And I, just because of what I used to do a lot, which is doing a lot of violin competitions, those pieces aren't really like prioritized in the repertoire for either competitions or auditions. So I haven't done most of them. I've never done the Elgar and I've never done the Fauré. And they're just so beautiful. So I actually, during this quarantine, I was like, okay, well, now is the time for me to learn all of these little beautiful pieces so I can play them at concerts or like house concerts or whatever in my future. And now is the time. So that's that was part of this whole thing for me.
No, we haven't. We do have a four-hand version, but we haven't learned it yet. And actually, it's on my list of pieces to transcribe. I want to make my own transcription, but yeah, just haven't gotten around to it. But I'm glad that our first performance was with Bosun.
Aww.
Is this the first time for you three to play chamber music online like this?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's strange how everybody just started doing it now that this pandemic happened. Before, like, nobody would even think about it.
I think, well, before there were some really talented people who would record with themselves. Like you'd see that people playing different instruments or people singing a cappella. That was kind of common before, but collaborating with different people across the world, I don't think that was very widespread at all.
Right.
Yeah. How you guys discuss some of the details beforehand, before creating the recordings separately?
Bosun sent us his solo version, just his part, and we rehearsed with his recording. We tried playing along with his recording. We figured out where he's taking time, where he's picking up the tempo, and then we played it ourselves, just trying to remember. So we found this, preparing this is good exercise for your internal ear. Like it's good practice to play something and hear the melody in your head while playing. And so we had to use that skill quite a lot. And actually, as a four-hand duo, we have to do this ourselves. When we practice individually, we have to know what the other person's playing. So we're used to this, but having a different instrument come in it was an interesting exercise.
I'd record myself, and honestly, they made it so easy for me because, you know, normally it's very much like a two-way street, but this time, like, I got a taste for what it was like to basically be the diva. It's basically like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. Try to match me. But it was very nice, and then, you know, trying to hear their part in my ear. But you know, when you send things like that, there's only so much that usually a collaborator is able to do, but they were able to do mostly everything I wanted. So I remember for the Elgar, because the Elgar actually has more twists and turns in terms of tempo changes and rubato. And when Claire and Scott sent me their first take, I did like one recording with it, and there were just some things that just did not feel very natural for me at the time for some reason, because maybe I'd like to think that I've grown since I've sent them the first recording, even though it was like a few hours ago. And then you know, I'd send something back and be like, hey, at this bar, can you take a bit more time? And then, you know, like 15 minutes elapses. They're like, do you mean this bar? And then like 15 minutes elapses, and I'm like, no, I meant that bar. And they're like, can you, and then we would FaceTime and we'd talk about it. And then they sent me the second take, which is the one that we ended up using.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting for us. It makes us think analytically, like how a teacher would think, how a teacher would have to tell their student, can you do it this way because, or explain how the rhythm works, not just demonstrating, not just copying, but explaining how to slow down in a way that's clear, that makes sense to the listener, and to, in this case, to make sense to the other collaborator.
Guys, this is Lucas. This video is for music friends for Patreon contribution. I send warmest greetings from Poland. That's the place that I stay right now. Today is the first day after lockdown. People can go outside. It's the first time we can visit the forest and nature. I missed it so much. I'm sitting beside the lake and I'm cycling today, as you can see. I have my bike. I love cycling so much. It helps me relax, especially after hours of practicing the piano. I hope you will enjoy my music videos that I send to music friends. These are Chopin recordings that I made in a very beautiful hall. This is one of the best concert halls with wonderful acoustic. It's in Poland. Many wonderful musicians, including Simon Rattle or Marta Argerich, they were amazed by the quality that this hall represents. Please listen. I hope you will enjoy it. And please stay safe. See ya.
Sodam, you're the first time debuting at Music Friends. Welcome. It's very, very excited to have a new addition to our lineup of great musicians. So I'd love to know, could you tell us a bit about yourself?
First, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be a part of your society or community. And as you know, my name's Sodam, and I came to Vancouver 2 years and a few months ago to do my master's in UBC. And I am graduating in May in opera, of course. And I'm coloratura soprano, 27 years old.
Yeah.
Korea.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, to pick this song, I took like 5 seconds because one of my favorite opera singer is Nathalie Dessay. She's a French opera singer, and she had a recital in Korea in 2014, and I definitely came there, and like before she performed, like few days before, we had a very like big tragic happening, which is called sinking of MV Sewol. It's a boat with a lot of students who are going to a school trip, and it sank, and it was really horrible, and everyone was so down, and Natalia Dissay wanted to comfort us, so she started with Du bist for her recital, and I was so touched, and the song itself was so moving and touching, and in this like difficult situation, I of course wanted to sing this song to share this beautiful song with other people. That's how I picked the song.
Wow. So, in your opinion, what is this song about? Is it about, is it more about, about love, about religion? What's your take on this piece?
Well, I thought definitely it is about love.
Yep.
And well, I'm Christian, so whenever I sing this song, I always think about God was my comfort, or
Knowing you very well, I know that you often like to research some background stories of anything you play. So any interesting stories about this piece that you could share with us?
Yeah, of course. The poet who wrote the poem that the song is based on, that's Friedrich Ruckert. He's a German romantic poet, but generally not considered to be on the same level as, say, Goethe or Heine. But I guess it's interesting that his poems have inspired many great composers. I mean, not just Schubert, but also Schumann and Mahler and Brahms as well. Perhaps there's something inherently musical about his poetry that these composers really fixated on. Of course, another interesting thing about Ruckert is his interest in foreign languages and cultures, because he is said to have known over 40 languages, and he's able to learn a new language in a really, really short amount of time. And that actually connects with this song in an interesting way, because I discovered that the collection of poems that this came from is called the Eastern Roses, which were poems inspired by the writings of a great 14th century Persian poet named Hafez, which is quite interesting because there's an Eastern and actually Islamic element to this whole poem as well.
Oh, I wouldn't have thought about that.
Yeah, quite interesting. And it's also quite interesting that this spirituality, regardless of your belief or your culture, you could feel it just from hearing the music.
Yeah, maybe it's about how no matter what's our religion, we still have something in common as humans. We all long for belonging and comfort.